The all-new 7th generation S650 Mustang is here, and it may just be the wildest and weirdest Mustang yet. Nearly 60 years after the car's initial launch, Ford says it's the most exhilarating and fun to drive yet, thanks to a completely reimagined driving experience. The new Mustang adds another chapter to an icon, delivering the looks, sound, and appeal of the world's best-selling sports coupe for 7 years running. Whether convertible or coupe, V8 or turbocharged 4-cylinder, manual or automatic, the new Mustang has options at multiple price points and performance levels. Let's get into that.
We all know a new Mustang is a watershed moment, and this new version is no different. As we suspected in the speculation piece we did a few months ago, it's using two large, fully customizable displays, which, if I'm honest, look like they're stolen right out of a Mercedes.
As if that's a bad thing. It's offered this time around with just two engines, a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder EcoBoost and a, thank the car gods, reworked 5-liter Coyote V8. The latter offered with a manual transmission. The EcoBoost is reportedly all new, but basically unchanged as far as we can tell. But the new 4th generation V8 promises to make the most naturally aspirated power of any GT branded Mustang ever, thanks in no small part to a new dual air intake box and dual throttle bodies. Oh, and that manual transmission? That comes standard. You get a 10-speed automatic with the EcoBoost, which is a gearbox that has had its fair share of customer complaints. But I'm sure the boys at the Blue Oval have been hard at work ironing out all the kinks. We'll find out when they finally let us drive the thing. Oh, and hey, real quick, if you're in the market for your ideal Mustang, click the link in the description below to check out the results on Auto Tempest. It really is the best site to search for your next ride. We use it literally every day here on Ideal. Now for the Wild. Both ponies will be offered with an optional performance pack, which adds a ton of goodies like a Torsen limited slip diff, a front tower brace, optional magnetic suspension, wider rear wheels and tires, and larger 390mm front and 355mm rear brakes, supplied by Brembo. Opt for the performance pack on the GT, and you also get an additional oil cooler and brake cooling ducts, optional Recaro sports seats, and active exhaust, which enables Ford's good neighbor mode to shut the car up on those cold morning starts. Oh, and it's got a new, faster ratio steering rack.
But the wild part doesn't end there, because Ford also announced an all-new model.
The Dark Horse.
It's the first new performance series from the brand in 2 decades, and it is, and I'm quoting Ford here, for the enthusiast that wants purebred force of nature. It has what they're calling striking visual cues. It offers a reduced overall drag coefficient, uses a different rear spoiler that not only improves high-speed handling, but also almost completely fixes some of the visual concerns we get into later in this video. It comes with new drive modes, an improved cooling system, additional track-focused applications for the infotainment environment. Oh, and it's got MagRide Standard to help deal with the now 500 horsepower being sent through the Tremec 6-speed manual. And it doesn't stop there. Ford is giving the world an entirely new racing lineup, including the Dark Horse S, which is a daily drivable weekend warrior track day car. Dark Horse R, which is built for grassroots racing like SCCA, NASA, WRL, and an all-new Mustang-only racing series. They're building a new NHRA Factory X car for drag racing. That's an all-new class in the sport. They're building a GT4 car to compete in SRO, and IMSA, and WEC, an Australian Supercar Series car. But maybe most excitingly, the GT3. Ford is taking the Mustang not only to 24 hours of Daytona, but almost poetically, they're heading back to Le Mans. After 50 years, Ford heads back to the hallowed ground where they took on Ferrari, where they plan to, and I quote Bill Ford himself here, go like hell.
But what about the more consumer-oriented ponies? Well,
it's got a whole mess of cool driver assist features and toys as well, including everything you normally get with Ford Copilot 360, like speed sign recognition, intelligent adaptive cruise with stop and go functionality, lane center assistance, evasive steer assist, and reverse brake assist.
The most interesting feature, active pothole mitigation, comes standard with the performance package, and according to Ford, continuously monitors suspension, body, steering, and brake input, and adjusts suspension response accordingly. Sounds neat! It's got a new remote rev feature that allows you to actually start and rev the engine from the key fob, which could be fun, I guess. But the feature I'm most excited about is the new electronic drift brake that Ford says can quickly turn a novice into a drifting pro like Von Gittin Jr. We'll see about that. It's not clear how it actually works and exactly what all it does, but they claim you'll get the visual appeal and functionality of a traditional mechanical handbrake. I'm guessing it's also going to work with the stability and traction control systems to somehow help you along in your drifting escapades. Now, so far, Ford is staying quiet on specifications like actual horsepower and 0 to 60 times and pricing and fuel mileage, but you can expect it to be more efficient and slightly more powerful than the outgoing 6th generation Mustang. We'll update you all once they release more information about it. Let's talk about what's inside. As for infotainment, all the graphics are built on Unreal Engine, just like many of our favorite video games. Animations are all rendered out in real time and look great. Almost everything in both displays is fully configurable, right down to color.
The colors of the gauges themselves correspond to a given drive mode, and just like in the previous car's interior, ambient light options are nearly endless. Other options include a leather-wrapped steering wheel, although you still get the self-titled race-inspired flat bottom wheel design, regardless of what material it's wrapped in.
Cloth seats are standard with micro suede inserts optional. Premium models get upgraded inserts on the dash and door cards and color-coordinated stitching all over. You can opt for a wireless charging pad for your phone and a premium Bang & Olufsen sound system for your ears. And of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with Amazon Alexa baked right in. What's super awesome is they've added overhead USB ports, so you can plug things like a GoPro or a radar detector in without having to drape wires across the dash or mess with any hard wiring if you don't want to. And what's extra cool is on the optional track pack, you get track maps loaded right into the navigation system. It might just be the best looking Mustang interior in years, but there are a few drawbacks. First, like so many other cars, they've moved all of the climate controls into the infotainment. Personally, that doesn't really bother me, since the auto mode on modern climate control systems typically work really well. But I know a lot of you would much prefer physical buttons. Radio controls are accessed either through the screen or through the steering wheel, but thankfully they've left us physical controls for the audio volume. Thanks, Ford! On to the elephant in the room, the exterior design. And this, to quote Doug DeMuro, is where it gets weird. Ford says it's an edgier design with timeless Mustang cues, and its low horizontal brow across the front emphasizes overall front width, while the upper grille design shape is influenced by the original 1960s design. I don't know about you, but to me, it sort of looks like a kind of lazy update to the existing car. It's not bad or ugly, but it's not breathtakingly interesting and beautiful either. The real problems start around back. The big sharp slabs of metal look strikingly similar to one of the Mustang's biggest rivals. And the way they've styled the haunches make it look like a complete ripoff of another company's homework. The whole car looks like last year's Mustang and Camaro had one too many sips of E85 and made some bad decisions, and then experienced a contraceptive malfunction. I do like the roofline and the taillights though. Speaking of the taillights, I like the headlights too, which now do a dance for you, by the way. Like I said in our last video on the Mustang, Ford knows its customers. And already we've seen some pretty awesome mock-ups of what the aftermarket has in store for the all-new car. And it has to be said that I do think this will probably be the best platform for modifications we've seen out of the car in ages. Overall, I think I'd like it, but I'll know for sure once they give us one to drive. This is Trav, and this has been Ideal. Thank you all for watching. I want to hear your thoughts on the new Fast Ford. Do you love it? Hate it? I want to know. It seems like everyone has a Mustang story, and we'd love to hear yours. Brad and I will be in the comments, so let's continue the conversation down there. I'll see you all next time.